Welcome, friend, to the Christmas service for this year and the Christ Consciousness Activation. My name is Macaya Miracle. I'm the co-creator of a system of healing called Accelerated Light Healing, and I'm super excited to play with you today. I'm not going to talk anymore about today's activation before we get started, but what I'd like to do to get started is just take a few minutes, get our energies connected, get the healing energies running. And I'll talk more about all of this after that. So I invite you to close your eyes, take some deep breaths, let them out with sound. Yeah. And now just continue deeply breathing and open yourself up to receive. Ah. While we're still in this state, I invite you to set an intention for the activation that is coming today. Ah, beautiful friend, how you feeling? Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment. Notice what you're experiencing in your body and your energy. Um, and do that 2 more times. Um, once more. Yeah. And if you give that feeling a word or two, what would it be? Peaceful, blissful, love it. Shell says peace and calm. Yay. It says calm. Rebecca says peaceful. Rebecca says tingling and relaxed. Astrid says very peaceful. Yay. And you may notice that even out in the world today, it feels very peaceful. Daisy says very peaceful. Rose says neutral. Beautiful. Cindy says happy. Ka says tapped and open crown. Yeah. What he says peaceful. Lots of peace. Love it. A good portion of the world is resting or celebrating today. Not everybody, but a big enough number where the energy of everything has just kind of relaxed and settled. I've actually been experiencing that for the last 6 days. I'm not sure how that translates to the rest of the world, but definitely today because people aren't stressing, they're not as many people are working today. If they are traveling, it's probably to spend time with people that they love. So in times of that, in times of chillness, we have the opportunity to really open ourselves to receiving a lot more light from infinite consciousness, which we'll be doing today. So it is Christmas. It is Christmas Day here. And really, what we're celebrating is not just the birth of Christ, but the birth of Christ consciousness here on this planet. The planting of the seed of an entirely new way of being, where you live from a space of infinite love, infinite compassion, non-judgment, oneness, unity, peace. And Christ wasn't the first being to bring these ideas onto the planet. But seemingly, it seems like he was the first being to bring these teachings to the Western Hemisphere. A lot of records for that, of these ideas in the West. In the East, they've been there for thousands of years. In the West, it was brand new. And by Christ coming down and anchoring his energy onto the planet, just kind of let those seeds ripple out of this new way of being that we all can achieve. The ascended level of being. The level of seeing everything as oneness. Everything is infinite consciousness, and that includes you. All just one. And when everything is one, your compassion automatically skyrockets because you realize that anything that's happening to anyone or anything anywhere is happening to you. Anything that's happening to you is happening to everything everywhere. All one. If everything's you, you just want to love everything. The more love you can be for everything and everyone, it just enhances the love of everything and everyone. Period. I mean, you can do something as simple as sending love to the wall in front of you right now. And if you're open enough to receive it, you'll realize that you're just loving yourself as oneness, and then your energy raises too. An easy way to get a very visceral experience of that is to go do that to a tree. Just stand about 3 feet away from a tree and send it love. You'll realize that it just all flows back into you amplified and really out into the world, out to everything. Because the tree doesn't have any judgments. The only way to create separation between you and anything else is to judge it. And that's just an illusion. It's an illusion of separation. So the only way to create the illusion of separation is to judge something. And Christ showed us a way of being that was beyond judgment. When you move beyond judgment, everything is oneness. And when you come to the place of everything is oneness, you allow yourself to relax into that. You realize that nothing's ever wrong. Nothing's ever a problem. The only things that you consider problems are problems because of your attachment to something, a certain outcome, or a certain way of being, or a certain way of this is how the world should be or has to be. Which are all causes of suffering, resistance. But when you really expand all the way out to infinite consciousness, you become everything. You realize that nothing's ever wrong and everything is just working in the easiest way possible to get you and everything to merge back into infinite. That's where we're all headed, merging back into infinite. There have been some little bit of misinformation out there on the internet that I've seen via some certain channelers and also just some graphics that people put up on social media and posts that say some of us will ascend into the fifth dimension and then the rest are going to just, their existence is going to end. If they're not willing to ascend or they're not ready to ascend, they're just going to end. And that's not true. I'm assuming that idea came from people thinking linearly about consciousness, whereas if you die, then the next time, your next lifetime would be linear in time. Let's say somebody dies in 2022. If somebody's thinking linear, they'll think, well, that person's next lifetime will be shortly thereafter the time of their death. It doesn't work like that. You're an infinite being beyond all time and space. Beyond all time and space. And so if you have this idea, well, the earth is ascending and a certain group of people are ascending, and then we make it up to the fifth dimension, we make that jump. But the people who aren't ready for that jump, their existence just ends. Well, if you're an infinite being, how could that ever be true? Your existence never ends. You are a drop in the ocean of everything. And so the people who aren't ready to ascend to the fifth dimension, when we make that jump for ourselves and our planet, what will happen is that those souls will have a new opportunity. Someone like you who has been on the spiritual path for a while, most likely in many lifetimes, has been doing practices to raise your vibration to a place where you can make it to the next level of ascension. For those souls and beings who haven't been doing that, anybody at any given point has the choice to let everything go and become enlightened. But it's much more challenging if you haven't had the spiritual momentum built up lifetime after lifetime. So for those beings who haven't been building that spiritual momentum or given any attention or focus to spiritual progression or coming back to oneness, they'll have new opportunities. It's not like they were going to school on the earth and now the earth has changed and they don't have a place to go anymore. It's not like that. They can go to different planets, different places where they can evolve. Or, I said reincarnation is not always linear. They can continue reincarnating onto the earth plane in the past and living lifetimes and learning things that way too. So don't worry. Nobody's being left behind. It's just that some people need more time before they can make that jump to the fifth dimension. And what does it take to make that jump to the fifth dimension? Well, it takes moving beyond all of your limiting beliefs and all your heavy and stuck emotional charges. Combination of those two things create judgment. That's too heavy to exist in the fifth dimension. It's too dense. So we release all those things. And as we release those things, we just effortlessly send higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. It's kind of like you're in a hot air balloon, but you're wearing a backpack full of really, 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 really heavy rocks. A really big backpack. And so every time you release a limiting belief or stuck emotion, it's like taking a rock out of the backpack, throwing it over the side of the hot air balloon. And the more rocks you throw off, the lighter you are, and the more the balloon can raise higher and higher and higher. Except the thing is that that hot air balloon can actually go infinitely high. Or down the earth plane, it will, it will peak out somewhere, but the hot air balloon of ascension goes infinitely high. And so the reason I bring that up is there's nothing so important to hold on to that takes away from your spiritual evolution, that holds you back from your spiritual evolution. There's no belief, there's no thing to be right about that is more important than your spiritual evolution. A lot of times when we've experienced trauma, we want to be right about it. We want justice to be served. That person should be punished, or that just we want to be right about that person was wrong for doing that thing. That's not how Christ viewed the world. He saw everything as oneness and everything as a reflection of himself. When you start to see everything as oneness and as a reflection of yourself, you realize that there's no difference. There's no difference between you and the person you decide is the greatest, most virtuous person in the world. There's no difference between you and the person you decided is the most horrible and despicable person in the world, who does evil things. It's all oneness. And until you can get to the place where you don't have a bias on that person's good and right, that person's bad and wrong, it's going to hold you back from ascending, because anytime you go into judgment, it takes away from your inner peace, because you're trying to force an illusory separateness in the flow of infinite. And that's just not how reality is. Energy wants to flow infinitely like a river. If you try to stop that flow, it takes a lot of energy and effort, and that takes its toll on your body. So Wayne Dyer, who was a spiritual teacher over the last 35 years, he died a few years ago. He had this famous quote. He said, in any given moment, you have two choices. You have the choice to be right or the choice to be kind. Let go of all the places you need to be right. Let go of all the places that you're holding on to or grasping onto your idea of what reality is and how it has to be and how it should be and how you have to show up in that reality, how you have to be, how you have to look, what you have to do. Let it all go. None of it's important. If it takes away from your inner peace and your infinite joy, you might want to look at why you're holding on to that thing. Because your natural state is infinite joy, it's infinite love, it's infinite peace. And if you're not experiencing that at any moment, there's something out of alignment. Which usually just takes a little shift to come back into alignment. Identify the belief, you identify the emotion, whatever is holding that misalignment into place, you let it go. Come back into alignment and allow your life to flow with the infinite again. Any questions on any of that before we get into the activation? While I'm waiting for questions, I will talk about Christ consciousness. So Christ consciousness is seeing everything, again, in oneness, is unity, unified, oneness. Not judging anything, not separating from anything. It's having infinite compassion. From the Buddhist perspective, it's about, what can I do to eliminate the suffering and the causes of suffering for all beings. That was Christ's mission. And there are a lot of characteristics of Christ that, are they're virtuous to emulate, loving everyone and everything, bringing peace to those who are not experiencing peace, healing. And when I say healing, that doesn't mean you have to go out and learn how to be a healer and leave your job and become a healer. Something as simple as giving someone a hug is very healing. Anything you do to uplift the spirit is healing. And even you receiving the energies from an experience like this today allows you to embody those energies and raise the vibration of everyone and everywhere, everything and everywhere you go, just by you being. So you're already doing a really great job. And if healing is your path, being a healer and contributing that to the world, definitely another virtuous thing to do. All right, then let's get into the activation. So I invite you to get comfortable. Either lay back in your chair or lay down as long as you can hear me. And once you're there, just take a couple deep breaths, really sink into wherever you're at. Ah. Mm. Mm. Ah. I'd like you to become aware of the energy that surrounds your body. Expand the energy out to the size of the room you're in. Expand the energy out to the size of the building you're in. Expand the energy out to the size of the city block you're on. Expand the energy out to the size of the city you're in. Expand the energy out to the size of the state or province you're in. Expand the energy out to the size of the country you're in. Expand that energy out to the size of the entire planet. Now expand that energy out to the size of the solar system. Expand that energy out to the size of the galaxy. Expand that energy out to the size of the universe. Expand energy out to the size of the universe of universes. Now expand energy all the way out to infinite consciousness. Ah. From here, just breathe. Energies are raising your vibration so you can receive the most out of this activation. All right. Now we're going to start the Christ consciousness activation. If you would like to receive this, say, I will receive this, either out loud or in your head. Oh, you notice any tension in your body, just breathe into it. Allow the energies to move it out. All right. Now I'm going to enhance your connection to infinite source in the earth. What I'd like you to do is breathe energy from the earth, up your feet, up your entire body, out your head, all the way up to infinite source. Yeah. Do that 2 more times. Energy from the earth, up your feet, up your entire body, out your head, all the way up to infinite source. Yeah. It's one. Yeah. I like breathing energy from infinite source into the top of your head, down your entire body, not your feet, into the earth. Do that 2 more times. It's one. I like you breathing energy from the earth, up your feet, up your entire body, not your head, all the way up to infinite source. Ah. Do that 2 more times. Yeah. So, yeah. Mm. When you're ready, you can start to deepen the breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Rotate your ankles. Press your body. Squeeze your body a little. Stretch out if you'd like. Ah. In your own time, you can come back to sitting and open your eyes. Beautiful, friend. How you feeling? Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment. That's what you're experiencing in your body and your energy. And do that 2 more times. That's good. Yeah. If you could give that feeling a word or two, what would it be? Rebecca says that felt amazing. Yay. Astrid says floating in oneness. Claudia says a lot shifted there. Yay. Beautiful. Thank you so much for receiving these energies, receiving this boost. The energies of this activation will continue to raise, and the more that you nurture them, the more intensely they will continue to raise. It's like planting a seed. We watered it and shone sunlight on it for a while, and it sprouted, and the plant is starting to grow. And the more and more time you spend either in meditation or receiving healing or receiving energy activations, that plant is going to grow and blossom even more and more and more. Yeah. If you're interested and you would like, I'm here. This is a gift to you all. And if you would like to make a donation for the live stream, I just put that link in the chat box, and it's going to be below the video also. So you can click there to make a donation. Lots of thank yous coming in. I see blissful, peaceful, pure bliss, feeling serene. Yay. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, friend. I love you. Merry Christmas to you. I look forward to playing with you again soon.